morning. Thank you for joining me today. I am Amy Looper, the founder of Resilient Growth Unleashed. I'm a wife, a mom of two, and a former software sales leader. I am here to help you guys advance your career and life with confidence, consistent performance, without losing that deep connection with the loved ones around you. Okay. At the heart of well being, today we're going to talk about well being and something really close to my heart, which is resilience. I want to help you guys really navigate uncertainty and change, especially here in 2024, so you can expect to really grow confidently, experience success without sacrificing your income, your health, or your relationships. So today I want to talk to you about something that really impacts our ability to grow with confidence and resilience. And that is fear and self doubt. Has anybody felt fear and self doubt, even in the last week? These are normal human emotions, but by the end of our time together today, I really want to help give you some tangible tactics that you can use to really move through that, move over fear and become courageous, move over self doubt, and just trust yourself and be confident in your feelings, your intuition, and your way of being. Okay, but you see, before I started all of this, I have to share a confession with you. I have to share a confession that I mastered the art of self doubt and honestly self sabotage throughout my career. It was back in, let me tell you a story, back in 2013. I was rocking the SaaS sales world. I worked for a company held by Vista Equity. They gave me this shiny BMW. I, landed 4 President's Club awards, got promoted to sales leadership. I mean, it was awesome, right? Traveling the world in President's Club trips, getting all the gifts, getting all the things that venture capitalist firm gives high sellers. Life was awesome. My husband and I were newlyweds, and we just really had dogs to be responsible for. To be honest, like life was pretty easy. Fast forward to 2014, the plot thickened. I became pregnant. Surprise! I was having my first daughter and just settling into my new role in sales leadership. Life was awesome until it was 19 weeks in, and I was traveling in Santa Rosa. All of a sudden, I had an episode where I had to rush to the hospital, and they put me on bed rest. In fact, my husband had to come up and save me, like fly up, and they're like, "Yeah, she might not even be able to make it in the plane." And I had to be really like on house arrest for the next 4 months. We were just trying to keep the baby for as long as possible and keep her in the oven for as long as possible. It was a lot of anxiety. I was overwhelmed. I was confused. I was conflicted, as you can imagine, being that new sales leader, like trying to be the road warrior, being told, you can't even leave your own house. How many of you have experienced that isolation at home with the home office lately? It's a real thing, right? It's kind of like Groundhog Day, day in and day out. That's how I was feeling too. Fast forward several months later, going through, we did have her. She was a month early, and she was healthy. Knock on wood, she was healthy, 6.5 pounds. But fast forward through that, I wasn't okay. I went through postpartum depression, definitely postpartum anxiety. I felt really lost. It was just a really big shift, and I felt the fear that I couldn't do it all. I felt the fear that I wasn't going to be able to be a sales leader, travel, and grow my family without my marriage falling apart. But here's the thing that I didn't do. I actually just really hid in fear behind people pleasing and never really had a direct conversation about that fear with my own husband. I didn't reach out to my very supportive boss at the time and said, "Hey, I need to have a discussion about integrating work and life." He had kids too. He got it, right? And when we hide behind fear, we just sabotage our efforts and our dreams, don't we? I don't want that to happen to you. So, the purpose of my whole company, my purpose for you women in sales, I love coaching and speaking to women in sales because we are amazing doers. We are amazing achievers. We usually are amazing givers and caregivers as well. We can read a room. We have so many great qualities. And when we go through big life situations, we also have an opportunity to up our level of leadership and up our level of using our own voice and not succumbing to fear and self doubt. So, you see, each of you really possess that incredible potential, don't you? I know you feel it. I know you feel it. Like really reach inside and say, yeah, I know, like you're a badass, right? But when we're living in fear, that energy is restricting. It holds us back. And we don't make strong decisions. We people please. We start to self doubt. So, I want to help you build resilience and confidence today. And in order to do that, we have to do one thing. This one thing that will cut through fear every time you feel it: courage. Making a courageous decision or taking a courageous action, having a courageous discussion with someone will cut through that each and every time. Here's a fact that I also would like to share with you that you can remember today is that emotions are only felt in the body for 90 seconds. 90 seconds, that's nothing. So the next time that you're in the boardroom and you're in a heated discussion, somebody says something that just kind of, woo, you feel it, remember, okay, I'm only going to feel this for 90 seconds. Excuse yourself from the meeting, come back. By the time you come back, your body has actually released that physically. Okay. This is scientifically proven. The rest of it is our choice up here to really hold on to that. So we have this ability and opportunity to control our thoughts and actions no matter what we feel. That's the bottom line. Have you guys ever heard that mindset is everything? Mindset is everything. It's everything because it leads where our focus and our energy is. So if you think something's going to work out, it will. Think about the stretch goals that you guys might have in place for this quarter. Maybe you're working on something really big. Maybe you're working on like the next big deal. Maybe you're trying to get that 7-figure, 8-figure deal across the line, which may be the biggest commission check that you will have. Mindset will take you into that. So you have got to stay focused, take courageous action every single day. But guess what? That also works in your personal life. That works in your personal relationships, and it works in your health too. Your body will become very healthy and regulated. You will be emotionally regulated when you operate in these ways consistently. If we're placing limits on ourselves, like self-doubt and sabotage, that's where we hold ourselves back. That's where we see nervous system dysregulation, hormonal imbalances. We'll see more chaotic relationships in our lives. We'll see inconsistencies come and go in our sales performance. Like the way we do one thing is the way we do everything. So I just want you to think about building courage like building a house. Every little brick that you lie, every action and thought that you take that's courageous builds the strength of that house. You build a really resilient home, right? And it might seem insignificant, but it actually paves the way for transformation and it builds your self belief. If you're building your internal self belief, you will outwardly look confident, but you will actually internally really feel confident. You'll know it, right? Because you'll believe in yourself, not just fake it till you make it stuff. And you've given yourself evidence now in your brain to be consistent and courageous that you can do something bigger and more stretchy. So the more consistent you are and committed you are, you're going to build that muscle. Okay. I'm really grateful for the lives that really tested my self-belief. The example I just gave you was just one, and we went through a whole bunch of other things over the last 10 years that I won't even mention today in this presentation. But what I will say is that when you take care of yourself, the heart of well-being, your resilience will grow. It will show in so much in your life. So it might seem like a really easy concept. Okay, Amy, I just need to believe in myself, right? But your commitment is key. And so if you find yourself going, and a lot of salespeople, I see this pattern. They'll be really committed to something about 75%, and then that final 25%, it gets rocky. It gets rocky. And so that's commitment. Just like a diet regimen, right? You can't just say you're going to do something, take action again, and not take action against it. You've got to actually do it. Same thing in personal development. The same thing goes there. So when we trust ourselves, when we're committed, then we start to see things move forward. We start to move our performance to such higher levels. You might be a sales leader. If you trust your team, you might be committed to them, but do you trust them? You trust their forecast, and if you do, then you're going to start to see like, yeah, we got some consistency here because we have a level and a culture where people feel psychologically safe. They feel like they belong. We have a great dialogue and we trust one another, right? And so your performance will go up as a team. If any of you are wrestling with a desire to become, more confident, more resilient, more consistent, more courageous, and you're hesitant about making that first step, I just want to let you know you're not alone. That is totally normal. That's human resistance coming up. And I want you to ask yourself, do I want to live by purpose or personality? Do I want to live by purpose or personality? Do I want to let my emotions drive me throughout the day? Or am I going to be completely committed to my vision? As a salesperson, as a sales leader, you might also be a founder. Maybe you have a side hustle, whatever it is. You are the driver of what you're creating. And when we are in purpose, we're laser focused on that, right? We want to go help people, impact people, and do whatever it takes to do that. When we are in personality, our ego comes up, our emotions drive us, our circumstances lead us. We're in reaction to life versus leading it. And so, do you guys want to move past the resistance? Put your thumbs up in the chat. If you do, I want to help give you your confidence back. And we're going to flip over to some slides where you can take some pictures of some key tactical ways that you can integrate into your world today that will help you move past that, okay? So ask yourself right now, while we transition over to that, what emotions am I feeling? What of my emotions are coming up right now? Feel into that. A lot of times the salespeople are like, nah, that emotional stuff, not important. It actually is. When we embody it and we feel it and we recognize it, then we can start to move through it much easier instead of stuffing and storing it. Okay. And emotions are only felt for 90 seconds. So by the time we flip over to this presentation, you guys will be past that. But I just want you to embody what that is. And then ask yourself, okay, I'm experiencing this, but how do I want others to experience me as? How do I want to show up? What's your way of being today? Because you get to choose it. You get to choose it. It's very important to choose your way of being. Okay, so remember when I was sharing with you this big life transition from BMWs to trips to Tiffany jewelry to I think back, I'm like, man, that was a good gig. To all that stuff. Then life hit. Can any of you relate to life hitting? Whether you become a parent, whether you have another big life transition, maybe you're switching industries. Like those things are big life events. Maybe you leave the workforce, start your own company. You have to start to say, okay, there's this familiarity over to the right, right? And I'm standing over here. Now, the only gap in between is how I'm showing up and being, and what do I want to create? I have to get really centered in on myself to understand what's next, instead of letting the rest of the world dictate where I go. Encourage builds confidence. I said that multiple times, but I really want you to take a picture of this. If this is something that you struggle with, courage builds confidence. You've got that lion inside of you. I know you do. Every saleswoman does. And you get to leverage it as your superpower. And I want to help you lead in high performance in an uncertain world. We've all, I remember selling in the 2008 recession, and my whole sales career really has been in that, that roller coaster ride of the economy. And there's no doubt we are in that again, right? And so we just want to help you have the tools to be able to lead through that. And resiliency is key. When we are feeling our most resilient self, we can really get through anything, whether it's personal or professional or both kinds of hurdles. We know that we are really centered in our own competence. We trust ourselves. We're confident. We're connected. That's a huge one, you guys. When we are vulnerable and willing to share with other people and be really genuinely connected with people, we build better connection. Guess what happens when we build better connection? We sell more. Yes, we sell more and we flow more too. It no longer becomes a drag, right? But that requires us, especially as salespeople, to take off some masks that maybe you developed over your career. A lot of people will develop some ways to just kind of shield and protect. And we have fear of rejection, fear of success, all those things that can come up. But that comes down to being centered in on who we are as a person, right? Our character. How are we making impact, our vision? And coping and control is also a good thing. Control in a very positive way of, hey, I can be a leader in my life. So anyone here of way of being? This is very like if you've done any transformational work, personal development work, you've probably heard of way of being, but it's how we're showing up. So if you want to see your clients be committed to you, you have to be committed to them. If you want to see bigger results in your life, you've got to be courageous and focused, right? If you want freedom in your life, a lot of people come to me saying, Amy, I just want freedom. Okay. And so you've got to release some of that control to be free, right? We have to be what we want to see. I love showing this visual, and this is usually a game changer for people when they start to realize how they're showing up. Let's say today, let's see, what day is it? It's Tuesday. It's the beginning of the week. And maybe you're coming in and you're like, yeah, I do feel the fear that you're talking about. I do feel maybe you're a little stressed out. You're kind of towards this bottom half of this visual. This is the level of how our emotions show up, okay, as like energy. And so when we're in fear, we're down here. It's like we feel shameful, guilty, maybe didn't make last month's quota, whatever it is. You might be like, oh, dang, can I do it again? I don't know. Is it going to be a repeat of last month? Last month was a bad month. We don't want to operate like that anymore. So we want to realize that if we're choosing those levels of emotions, we can flip. And the point of transformation is really courage, like we talked about. You can see courage right here as we go up the chain. And we start to realize, okay, I'm no longer going to give in to down here. I'm no longer going to be stressed out and angry. I want to choose something different. I want to choose up here. I want to be an impact. Go serve someone today. Help someone today. That will put you up here and you'll start to realize that felt pretty good. That helped me create value today. And you start to give your brain evidence again that you can prevail and do the things that you want to do on your terms. The shift that a lot of people need to first make in high performance, in resiliency, so that they can achieve absolutely anything without burning out and without sacrificing, time with their loved ones, is emotional regulation. You have to realize that burnout and high stress and I'm talking about like really you at the core in your body are like, I can't even get up in the morning, right? I'm talking about real burnout. I'm not talking about I need a vacation kind of stuff. Everybody needs a vacation. But you have to realize that your job and your bully boss are not the source of your burnout problem. It's always a series of events, and it's your response system to things around you. And so we can recondition that and we can change that so that you don't have to live a life any longer where you feel that roller coaster. And in sales, we can easily see the roller coaster because it's performance based, right? So I want to help reclaim your power. You no longer have to live in people pleaser mode like I did. I shared how I did that. You no longer have to live in perfectionist mode, defined by your achievements. Your self-worth is not defined by your quota, your income, your title. Your kids don't care about any of that stuff. Your husband, your wife, your partner, your friends, they care about you. They don't care about that other stuff. They don't care about the car that you drive, right? And if we're natural givers, I want to help you make sure that you don't overgive and deplete yourself of energy. Here's the cycle of stress. When we feel that fear, our brain goes into overwhelm. It starts to look for validation of like, oh, where am I at? Where am I going? I need approval of something. But you're just giving away your power and you've lost control. Your body will subconsciously go into that fight or flight mode. We've got 2 levels of nervous system and it will go into the fight or flight side and it will focus on the what ifs. And that's where people really struggle with anxiety. and overwhelmed. So if you're struggling with that today, these tips are going to help you start to recondition and break through that cycle. Leading with intention is huge. When we step into our power, we want to take our power back and we want to say, okay, wait a minute, let me be intentional. What am I creating today? Like, what is my vision for today? How am I going to create impact in the world? That's step one. Get really clear on that. If you guys want to write that down, do that right now. Spend a minute, because then you can say, okay, now I know where I'm going. I'm going to stay focused on those top 2 to 3 things, become a strong finisher, and I'm going to make sure I take care of myself today. I'm going to get an emotional break, which might be like journaling or talking with a friend, doing something outside of work. Physical, getting outside, going to the gym. Spiritual, whatever you align with, prayer, reading one of the good books, like whatever you align with, right? Doing those things, because we're 3D beings and we need to feed the 3D being, right? And so then when we're doing these things, we're emotionally regulated, and it becomes much easier to be regulated in creating boundaries that support your vision. This is important. If your boundaries are out of alignment with your vision, you'll do this. It'll just be a mismatch, and you'll feel icky, and you won't get to your goals, and then you'll just go start the chronic stress cycle again. So in order to pull this all together, you got to be committed in your courageous action to make that all happen. This is a powerful 5-minute routine you guys can start with. And I really suggest that all my clients do this. I have a worksheet for my clients that they use to be able to kind of recondition their patterns. But a lot of people I see, especially in high powerful careers like sales, which there's never a dull moment, right? You're always being pulled in different directions. But before you turn on that laptop, spend 5 minutes, do the gratitude list, realize not even just what you're grateful for, but realize what progress you're making from the day before, from the day before that. Recognize your progress. That's something us high achievers oftentimes miss and we don't give ourselves credit for. You've got to do that in order to grow self-belief. Look at a challenge today and say, wait a minute, instead of looking at this as like a mountain to climb, what is the opportunity? What is the opportunity that I get? What am I going to learn? What new skill set am I going to have? Alexine and I were just talking about how we have to face this as founders pretty much every day. and we get to look at that differently, right? We get to visualize what we want, the impact we want, and notice the progress. That's key. Commit to your intention, create your ripple, become a strong finisher. Make sure your boundaries and your energy are regulated, because you get to choose that, right? And we don't want to go into this. I've been here, you guys. I have been in adrenal fatigue. I have been through a lot of stress related kind of things. If any of you are going through this, I understand you. Hormonal imbalances, postpartum stuff, it's all related many times to chronic stress that we don't even realize we have. And we may be living with certain behaviors for many decades before this stuff pops up. So I want to help you really get to a place where the nervous system is balanced, right? You've got a sympathetic side, which helps you go, go, go and achieve. And you've got another side that if we're always in that side, we're going to have too much cortisol pumping, right? And that's for us women. We can struggle, especially in midlife. We can have a lot of stress, and we can really go through in a place where we get stuck in that stress. I don't want you to be there. I want you to be in this side, the parasympathetic mode and balanced system, right? Where you can return to a state of calm several times throughout the day. This is where your flow unlocks. This is where your 7-figure earners are at, right? And you get to, maybe some of you are going from $100,000 a year, maybe you're doing $200,000, $300,000 a year on up. When you continue to rise up and you say, hey, I just want to do more because I want to be able to give more to the world, you start to have to unlock some of this stuff to get to the next level. And that's where, when you have the parasympathetic kick in a little bit more, you guys will just have more ease and flow. Your belief becomes your biology. This is how the mind and body are connected. But you have to give yourself permission to feel. Notice what you're feeling today. That's why I asked you that question earlier. What are you feeling? Don't deny how you're feeling because you've got to respect that. If today is a day where you're not going to do a lot of prospecting because you just need to like really you feel like you need to focus more on some of the back office stuff, then do that. If you feel like you just really need to go on a date with your partner and or spouse, do that, right? Really listen to where you're at and give yourself that freedom. People will come to me saying, I want to start my own businesses. I want freedom. Well, actually, you've had that ability to do this the whole time. It really doesn't matter if you are in your own business or in corporate America. You can give yourself that freedom. It's called leadership. Breathing. I know Alexine has an amazing event coming up for you guys, and deep breathing is so important. Deep breathing is something that you might learn in some of these things. Breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale for 4. You're training your nervous system when you do some of these modalities to bring in flow. And peace. Who doesn't want peace? I want more peace. Remember the 90-second rule. Emotions are only there for 90 seconds, and journal. Journaling is great. You are a bunch of women. Usually I have a little bit of a block when I talk to men about journaling. It's a touchy-feely thing, but us women usually have a collection of journals around. Like, get it out on paper. Just let it out before you go to sleep at night. Just don't go, grabbing the bottle of red wine to try to numb out. Better way of handling that can be journaling and getting the emotions out throughout the day. We talked about the 4 steps. So I'm going to fast forward to this end where I would love to get your feedback on what you learned today. And we can open this up for Q&A if Alexine, you want to do that, that is totally fine with me. But if you can scan this QR code and give me feedback on what you learned today, that would be excellent. I would love to learn more from you too. If you have questions and if there's anything you guys would like to learn more about, certainly let me know. Let me go over to chat too. Alexine, if you want to, I don't know if you can unmute, and if there's any particular questions you guys would like me to address while we have some time left, we can certainly do that. Stop sharing for a second. Okay, perfect. Yeah, if you guys have any questions about, how to really unlock from stress, I'm happy to serve, and I look forward to connecting with you guys in the future.